Hi, everybody. My name's Dan French, and I'm the Program Manager for Online Instruction. And I just want to take a few minutes and talk to you about teaching online versus teaching face-to-face. Now, one of the things I hear all the time from professors who have made the transition from teaching face-to-face to teaching online is that teaching online is a lot more work. And in most cases, this comes down to the fact that they're grading a lot more, or they feel like they're grading a lot more. And there's a reason for that, and there's a reason that online education is better often for the students than face-to-face. So I've taught face-to-face classes for years, and I've taught online classes as well. And in a typical lecture, in a face-to-face class, I'm lecturing, I'm going through the material, and there's always the core group of students that will raise their hands. So if I have a class of 40, there's 5 or 6 or 10 people that'll raise their hand on a regular basis, and that will get the discussion going in the class. But oftentimes you really have to pull the response out of students because they're reluctant to talk in front of the group. So in an online setting where we utilize something like discussion boards, it's like everybody is raising their hand in every class. And there's a difference, of course, because we're grading them based on their class participation, so they have to participate in discussion boards. But at the same time, for those who are reluctant to speak in front of groups, or for those who are apathetic and know they can get through a class without raising their hand, the online space sort of forces them to get out of their comfort zone and really gets them to be involved with the material. So that's one of the reasons that teaching online can be advantageous, because you get participation from everyone, and it's one of the reasons that professors tend to complain or at least express discontent at the time it takes. And I would suggest that if you keep up with your grading, if you stay involved in the discussion groups, or if you have students start to respond to each other and give meaningful comments back and forth, that reaches a higher level in learning. Of learning. So they're actually getting involved. They're doing peer review, that sort of thing, in an online course. So I think that we shouldn't just discount that maybe online is perhaps less connected to students, and I would argue that we can be more connected to students in an online setting. The other thing I like about online education, and I think it's useful to teachers and can really improve the quality of our teaching, especially when we're looking at MOOCs or courses taught in Coursera, is the rich analytics that we get from Coursera. Because when we think about Coursera courses, we absolutely know when we start to lose students, when students start to leave the course, when they start to drop out of the course. And really we can look at the workload we give the students and the material that we give the students, and we can begin to realize that these are the areas perhaps where we lose student engagement. So I think that the analytics that are available to us, especially in MOOCs, are really important, and they're a great tool to help us improve our teaching. Finally, I think that there is a tradition out there that online classes somehow are impersonal, and I think that comes from the evolution of online classes, that early on they were seen as nothing more but correspondence courses. Even the name distance education, I think, does a disservice to online education. I really think we should consider distance education or online education. I think we should call it networked communication, because really it gives us an opportunity to leverage the power of networks, both for peer-to-peer, student-to-student, and instructor-to-student education. So those are just some thoughts on online education and why it can be a superior tool to face-to-face teaching in many instances.